Okay, welcome to the video. Today I want to go over a couple of ideas here for employees at Qualcomm. As I'm recording this, it's the beginning of December, so the end of the year 2021. And a lot of people, a lot of our clients and colleagues are asking us to review their 401k plan and really help maximize the opportunity that's available. So I'm going to go through that in this short video. And I actually want to introduce you to one secret option, or I should say little-known option, that can really have potentially a big impact on your retirement savings. So let's dive in. If you're at the company, and by the way, if you're watching this video, it's probably easier to expand it on the bottom right. But if you're at the company, you'll recognize these funds here. These are the 19 funds that are available in the company 401k plan, okay? Now, we call these the core funds, all right? So taking a closer look at these core funds, I have them alphabetically here, but they're not that bad. This is really the year-to-date return for 2021 through the first part of December. And you can see a lot of funds have had nice double-digit returns. In fact, the ones that are negative are the quote-unquote conservative bond funds. So that's another video topic right there. But, the benchmark that a lot of these funds are compared to is the S&P 500 is up 23% over the same time frame. So you can see some of these funds have participated kind of in line with that. If we push it out here and then we look at the returns over a 5, let me grab this here, and 10-year return. Let's just take a look at this first one, American Beacon. So year to date, it's up 23%. In the last 5 years, it's accumulated 50%, and then over the last 10 years, it's grown over 200%. So that's almost 20% a year. That's pretty good for a fund. But top to bottom, a lot of these funds have done good. So that's the good news. Now, the bad news, when we look at the funds that are available and we look at what their benchmark is over here on the right, okay, the benchmark is essentially the index that a mutual fund is sort of tracking, or what it's compared to. Not necessarily whether it beats it or not, but for example, in the American, which is funny because the American Small Cap Beacon is a small company fund, and yet it's comparing itself to the S&P 500. But either way, 19 of the 19 funds, 14 of them are compared to the S&P 500. Now, if I just kind of go back here to this slide, you can see some of them have performed in line with that, and some of them have significantly underperformed. So let's kind of dig in. So, clients ask, hey, is there a better option for this? What if you could buy shares of some of America's most well-known companies? I mean, you should recognize the companies here, whether it's from Apple, Starbucks, Facebook, etc. Heck, Qualcomm should be in there on that list. But I took the companies from that graphic and I just showed what their return was year, and you can see, again, some of them performed better than the S&P 500. Some of them performed worse. The key point there isn't necessarily whether it beat the S&P or not, but you can see in the case of Walt Disney, it's a company that's down 20% this year. That might be, this isn't a specific investment recommendation, but that might be an area where there's some value where clients want to start to buy up shares, knowing that it's, maybe trading at a little bit of a discount. Or looking at the top of the list, a company like Alphabet, which is the parent company for Google, up 63%. Maybe people want to get on a more momentum-based investment strategy where they're sort of riding these winners like Google or Tesla and ExxonMobil, which is obviously an oil company that is finally, after years of underperformance, started to pick up a little bit. But the point I'm making here is that there are other things that you can invest in potentially, and these are some of the choices. And how do we access those? We access those through something called Brokerage Link. Now, you can kind of see on the left, I just graphicked out the core funds, those 19 original funds, and Brokerage Link, which is really just a separate account that allows you to buy and sell individual investments on your own, and you're not limited to those 19 funds. But both of those options, the core funds and brokerage link, all fall under the umbrella of the Qualcomm 401k. So that's still tax deferred, and your contributions from your paycheck, can still go into it and things like that. So I had talked about some stocks in that earlier slide, but you can see down here, you can buy individual bonds. We've heard a lot about inflation lately. Some people have been asking about gold. You can purchase gold shares or gold ETFs, dividend stocks, as well as not just the 19 mutual funds, but there's over 100,000 mutual funds that are available through this program. And then Reits here, for those that are unfamiliar, that stands for Real Estate Investment Trusts. So those are things that are known to pay high dividends or income payments, as opposed to growth stocks like shares of Tesla or something of that nature. So there's a lot of different asset classes that are available, which is a good thing from a diversification standpoint. Now, with added options comes added complexity. In fact, maybe some people on this video, it's difficult to sort through or analyze just the 19 funds. Now, what are they going to do with 19,000 different options? So you've got an option of doing it yourself, or you can use a professional advisor who can either advise you on a portfolio or recommend a portfolio which you can implement, which would be advised, or they can actually manage that portfolio for you. So, talk to your financial professional if they're aware of that, or if they're familiar with that process. Or if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to us at our contact information listed here at the end. So let me just click. Whoop, we got a little transition there. Really, the 6 or 7 reasons that I put here to consider brokerage link. Maybe you're concerned about market risk. The stock market's at an all-time high. A lot of those funds that you have are tracking the S&P 500, which is essentially, the stock market. And maybe you want to look for some alternatives to manage some of the risks in the portfolio. That can be done by using diversification, which is just kind of a fancy way of saying don't put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe you're looking to things like gold or real estate to help diversify your 401k investment portfolio. Another reason would be for income. Of the core funds, there isn't a very solid option that actually is there to just pay income. Okay, so if you're looking to invest more for income as opposed to growth, you would want to utilize that brokerage link option to sort some options to provide more income. Maybe you don't want to manage a 401k yourself, so you've got a choice. You can either allocate some investments and just buy and hold, or buy and hope, or whatever that might be, or you could have a professional manage it for you. That's an option that's available. Again, some people don't want to be limited to just the 19 core choices or core funds that are in there. The brokerage link is the answer to that solution. One other thing here too, I mentioned, you can actually reduce fees by using the brokerage link option, and I'll explain. Mutual funds have internal expenses. Now, the good news is the funds that are in the core account, they have pretty low expenses compared to industry averages. So that's a good thing, but there's still an expense. Maybe it's somewhere between 0.25% all the way up to 1 or 1.5% inside that mutual fund. Now, I told you that 14 or 15 of those funds track the S&P anyways. You could move money from that mutual fund and move it right over to an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, and the internal cost is 1/10 of 1%. So 0.01 or 0.02 basis points, as we call it. 100 basis points is 1%. So hopefully I got my percentages right there. But it's a very, very small fraction of a cost to get access, just say, to that S&P 500, which a lot of these funds are tracking anyways, and a good portion of them didn't even outperform. Inflation is a recent thing, so I put that on there as a reason to consider brokerage link. There's some investments in there that as inflation picks up, it's definitely a hot issue right now in the markets, which is why those bond funds have gone down. So looking for safe, secure options outside of just straight bond funds, can be available using the Brokerage Link account. We've actually put together what I call an opportunity report for clients or prospective clients that want to get some more information. We do a holding review, so typically they'll send over what they have invested currently, even just positions. It doesn't have to be the values. I've got 25% in this fund, 50% in this fund, 25% in that fund, for example. We take a look at that. We look at what would happen if you swapped from the fund to the index that it tracks. So essentially you're getting an apples to apples comparison, but you may be lowering fees and potentially improving performance. In addition to that, we do something that's called a drawdown analysis, and that basically says if 2008, the financial collapse happened, or the dot-com from early 2000s happened again, or even something like the 30% decline we saw last year with the COVID decline, what would that mean to how your portfolio is structured now? How much would your portfolio go down in that scenario? I think it's a really good piece of data to have, because it really tells you where your goalposts are. And then from there, you can figure out, hey, that's actually too much risk, or maybe the opposite. Maybe it's not. You're not taking enough risk, and that might be a consideration too. And then we assign a risk score again for you to look at whether or not your portfolio is too high based on what you thought, or in some cases too low. If you're looking for more information on that, again, you can connect with us. You can also just use the link below I set up called Book a Chat with Tim Dyer. Again, that's bookachatwithtimdyer.com. And we can have a conversation. I can walk you through how to set up Brokerage Link if you want, or go through an opportunity report with you. With that, hope 2021 was a good year for you, and that 2022 is even better. See you in the next video.